Think we have it now? And you got that? You got that? You getting there, man? Yo, what if I told you that the ego is not your enemy? It's just your misunderstood guide. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to the 3 faces of the ego, help you identify traits that are associated with each one, and then provide you some practical tips that's going to empower you to take a more aware and conscious role in your day-to-day life. Let's dive in. So let's start with the positive ego. Our positive ego is the one where our healthy identity resides. Okay, it's where our self-worth is, our confidence, our purpose-driven motivation. Now, it certainly can get too inflated at times, and that's something that you want to be aware of. But a lot of good comes from the positive aspect of the ego. Now, the negative ego, this is the one that's rooted in fear, scarcity, inferiority, judgment, and separation. Now, we're all aware of these feelings. We're just not always aware of the source, why they're there. And again, this message is here to empower you, to make you more aware of where these things are coming from. The neutral ego, this is the observer, if you will. It's not reacting, just witnessing, integrating both positive and negative aspects without any attachment. Now, it's that last part of that tends to trip people up. No attachment, remaining truly neutral. You've got that within you. You've got both this negative aspect, negative emotions, negative feelings, negative thoughts, and then we have positive aspects, feelings, emotions, and thoughts. Okay? But right in the middle is where we find our neutral observer. This is the one that's able to take a seat back and just look at both ones without any sort of judgment or attachment. And from this position, we can decide what feels best right now. From a neutral perspective, when you don't put any judgment or attachment on it, then it's really not observing a positive or a negative choice. You're just observing options. And in that moment, you get to decide which option makes the most sense for you right now. Okay? What feels the best? What resonates with you? And when you choose which one does, feel good about that choice, go in that direction until it no longer feels good. And then in that moment, when the emotions have gotten too much, slow things down, come back to becoming that neutral observer, figure out what your options are, and then decide what makes the most sense for you at that moment. I can promise you, no matter what you're doing, you are on your path. You are on your way. And you're pretty much already serving your purpose no matter what you're doing, because you're on your path to getting exactly where you're wanting to be. Okay? You find it, though, by being a neutral observer. You don't want to be pulled in any one direction for any reason outside of taking that ownership yourself. Become a conscious, aware observer of your own life and then things coming into your life, and don't be afraid to make the decision that's best for you in this very moment, because that's all that truly matters. All right. Now, let's talk about integration versus elimination. Okay? Trying to eliminate the ego is kind of doing some like spiritual bypassing. There's some work that needs to be done, and most of the time we're not even really aware of that work, and that's why they call it shadow work. Now, let me tell you, my shadow work was huge. It helped propel my evolution forward. And I started doing, and I was able to do it by discovering the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. Okay? I'll post some videos on that at some time, because it was just so impactful in my journey and helping me understand my own personal shadows. Yeah. Through the Gene Keys, you're given both your shadow work, but then you're also given the gifts that you unlock by going through your shadow work. That's a part that most people don't talk about. When you do your shadow work, when you go through these challenges and you figure out the answer to it and you overcome it, you actually unlock gifts. Okay? And we all come into this incarnation with some specific shadows to overcome. and then some specific gifts to unlock. Okay? Now, why each individual has them is to each their own. Okay? It's not for us to know, but that's part of the excitement of going down this journey. You're going down this journey of discovering why you had this incarnation. Now we're getting back to remembering the fact that, hey, we're not just a human being struggling to survive. We're spiritual beings here on a mission. And it's just simply a mission to remember who and what we are at our essence, which again, to remind you, is a spiritual being that's infinite and eternal. In my last video, I talked about the importance of our belief systems, and that's relevant here because our ego is shaped by our beliefs. And what I'm trying to bring more awareness to is the fact that I want to empower you to take a stance now against any beliefs that don't resonate with you. They're not in your best interest and they no longer serve you. Okay? And that's anything that, again, brings up this negative aspect of this ego that looks like fear, worry, anxiety, shame, guilt. Those aren't natural emotions and feelings, in a sense that we didn't come here just to experience that. We came here to experience that just to the degree that it takes us to learn and grow from it so that we can move into a state of joy, love, happiness. That's what's natural for us. That's when we feel best. That's when we're going to be at our healthiest. Okay? All of these negative aspects of the ego bring on these heavy emotions, which then manifest into these heavy diseases and illnesses and sicknesses. Okay? We can avoid it by trying to be the neutral observer as often as possible and deciding what serves us best. Get away from the judgment of positive or negative and just decide what feels best. No judgment, no attachment. And then the moment, if you make a decision on something that you decided feels best and you either immediately or down the road decide it no longer feels good, maybe you should have made the other decision, that's totally fine. As long as you're making that observation from that neutral perspective, you can then decide this no longer serves me, I now want to go pursue that. But again, observe all of your options and then just decide what makes the most sense in that point. And don't judge yourself for what you did, because the path of learning what doesn't serve you is a big part of the journey of getting to what eventually does serve you, what resonates best with you. Okay? We're all on this journey and it's not going to look perfect, although at the same time, every journey is perfect just as it is. Okay? Sorry to throw that at you like that, but it is what it is. So this week, do me a favor. Practice catching your ego in action. Okay? Not reflecting on it. Try catching it in action. Catch yourself either getting overly amped up or maybe getting a little bit down. Okay? Take a step back, become the neutral observer consciously, and ask yourself, what belief is behind this? What am I believing in order to feel this way? And from there, if you can, upgrade your belief if you feel necessary. If not, all of your lesson might be just in asking that one question. Or you might then be compelled to upgrade your belief if you decide in that moment that it no longer serves you. And if so, please do so, by all means. Okay, again, my message is just to empower you to take a more aware and conscious role in your day-to-day lives. We all have the answers within us, and by simply getting to that state of neutrality, we will all know the answers when we need to know it, the moment we need to know it. Not a moment before, not a moment after, but I can assure you, you won't miss a thing as long as you stay present and aware. Until next time, love you all. Peace out.